everybody, and welcome to this weekly update. For those watching on the video, you'll see that I'm outside, and for those listening on the audio podcast, welcome. I am sitting out in my garden. It is really warm, and we've had some really warm weather over the last few days here in Scotland. I would definitely call it melty weather, or tapsaf, as we call it in Scotland weather. My Australian colleagues would beg to differ and say that this is definitely not melty weather and they get melty weather. But suffice to say, it's really warm and I'm probably going to get burnt sitting out doing this video this morning. So let's cover off some Azure news. And I actually want to focus on one area of Azure news, and that's monitoring within Azure. And I'll tell you why in a minute, but what we've now got is preview ability to use Azure Monitor within the US Gov Virginia cloud, which is great for our US government cloud customers. We do have Azure Monitor in 18 of our public regions. So again, if you haven't been using it, please do have a look at it. We've also went GA with the ability to use Azure Monitor and Private Link together, and they really help you keep that information siloed and within your own network and not going with any public internet traffic transitions. With log analytics as well, we now have released over 250 example queries. So they should be there the first time that you use log analytics, and you can use them. So it means that you don't have to go and build your own queries or crowdsource some of them. I hope that the team will expand on that, but it's a great starting point for making you use some of the queries and also helping you give some guidance around how to build your own queries and etc. Because I know personally for me, I build on examples like that. I take the example queries, try and tweak them into what I need as well, rather than writing things from scratch. Something else I wanted to mention is that this month we actually announced 3 new regions, and the news kind of bypassed me, to be honest. I saw 2 of the announcements, but the third one I didn't see until weeks after it. So I just wanted to highlight the fact that we announced that we're going to open up a data centre in Poland, in Italy and in New Zealand. I think that's a helicopter or a motorcycle in the background. Anyway, sorry. So yeah, we're going to be opening new data centre regions in those 3 countries, which sees us within 60 different regions, and I think it's 140 countries now that we have Azure available in. So it's great to hear that we're still expanding even in these crazy weird times that we're in at the moment. So the reason I'm kind of focusing on Azure monitoring is I actually delivered a customer presentation on Azure monitoring this week. Part of an open hack that we were running for a customer, I was asked to come and present a session on Azure monitoring. So I did a 30-minute session on the basics of Azure Monitor and just gave them a high-level view of what was it really capable of. So it's something that I've been aware of, obviously, but I've never done a deep dive. I've never sat and actually spent some time learning about monitoring in any great depth and really getting down to the nitty-gritty in it. So it was really an interesting experience, and what I'm going to do with that presentation is actually record it and release it for everyone else to see, because I learnt a lot digging into the material that we have and the functionality that we have. So I'd like to share that because I learned some new things, right? And I want to share that with the rest of the community as well. So watch out for that in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, that's why I've been focusing on Azure Monitor for the news. I want to call out the fact that I've been releasing these videos for, I think this is the 41st week of doing them. I started doing the podcast version of this and then lost my way and stopped doing it, and I caught back up last week. So if you've been subscribing to the podcast version, you would have got a big deluge of all the podcast at once. I'm going to be more conscientious about doing that and actually talking to those podcast audiences as well when I'm saying where I am, etc. So hopefully you're enjoying that. Give me a shout out if you are listening on the podcast. I'd love to hear from you. Something I'm trying this week is actually using my Jabra Elite 75T headset. So they're little in-ear headsets, and I love these headsets. They're great for traveling, great for music, great for calls. I've never tried them for recording audio on these videos or the podcast, so hopefully it's okay. But yeah, and the reason I'm doing that is because my phone, the Samsung Galaxy S20, doesn't have a 3.5mm jack at the bottom of it anymore. So my lapel microphone doesn't actually go into this. I know I can get an adapter, I just haven't bought one. But yeah, so I decided to use the Bluetooth headset, so hopefully the audio is okay. Elsewhere this week, I've actually presented a user group for Newcastle, and yeah, that was good fun. So I'm pleased that I was able to still meet that commitment that I made, because I scheduled a kind of tour of some user groups to happen in May. I think it was February that I did that. So I was planning on going to 3 different user groups, one in Newcastle, one in Manchester, and one in Aberdeen, over 3 days, because it's actually quite a good route in terms of travel from where I am to do those 3 without doubling back on yourself. But with the pandemic, with everything being in lockdown, things just changed a little, and some of those user groups haven't really changed into virtual events or haven't pivoted to do that yet. So it was good to still be able to do that commitment with the Newcastle user group. So big shout out to everybody that came and had a listen to that as well. So that was fun. Other than that, to be honest, I've been focusing on figuring out what I want to do and what my priorities are going to be for the next month going forward. There's some things that I promised I would do or said I would do, and I haven't done them this time last year, and I want to focus next month on doing them. So like I said in my last video, I'm going to be focusing June on passing the AZ 500 exam. So hopefully you'll see me at some point mentioning that I've passed that. And I'll definitely share any learnings, any of my journey with you on that, if that's still an exam that you haven't done. And I think last week we actually changed some of the learning paths or learning objectives within the exam, so it'll be interesting to see, because I have previously studied for this exam, so it'll be interesting to see if how much of that knowledge I've previously held is still relevant to the exam that we've got nowadays. What I do need to do is benchmark my new PC. For those that have been watching my new PC build, I haven't benchmarked it yet. I've got a lot of the data, I just haven't had time to film it, so I need to get that filmed and out. So that's one thing I want to talk about. I've got additional fans for the PC coming. They should be here in the next couple of days, and yeah, I'll get them fitted and see if it improves it. The case, to be honest, the PC hasn't been running very hot, even when I've gaming. I've been playing Farming Simulator, and I think I played it continuously for about 4 or 5 hours last weekend. And even then, the case monitors were telling me that it wasn't running hot, it wasn't running excessively hot. So hopefully the additional fans will help just bring that down a wee bit more and well within normal parameters. So yeah, I've had a good week, and I'm looking forward to going into June and catching up on passing AZ 500, and also on finishing off a lot of content that's been started or is still in just the kind of idea phase. So June is definitely going to be a personal development month for me, and a catching up on all the backlog that I've got. So yeah, and I'll hopefully be able to tap up a bit of my tan as well with this gorgeous weather that we've got in Scotland. So have a good one, everybody. Stay safe, and I will catch you next week.